it's really a lovely place to live. I like living in a small town.
We take you to rural North Carolina, a place of pure beauty and a simpler life. Perhaps the last place you would expect partisan political battles.
This whole fiasco that's going to cost $500,000 a year in perpetuity is because of one book.
A place where national debates are creeping into local life.
Now look at yourselves. You should be ashamed. I love the library, and if one book can shut us down, then we are weak.
A unique look at rough and tumble politics in places you might not expect.
I'm a veteran, you don't give a about me.
I certainly never thought, Elon Musk would retweet me.
And the unique people who make it must-see TV.
Carl! Carl! Carl!
Welcome to another edition of Front Porch Politics, the show that puts politics back into our communities. I'm Tim Boyum. Look, politics is crazy right now. People are at each other's throats over DEI, woke, libraries, things going on all across the country. It's even happening in state government. But I've been wondering about how, if at all, it's playing out in local communities. Places like Sylva, here in western North Carolina.
Sitting on a hill about an hour west of Asheville, the former Jackson County Courthouse provides a stunning view of Sylva. In some ways, one of the world's best kept secrets.
It's a forgotten corner of the eastern United States, really. I mean, not a lot of people know this is here.
It's a laid-back kind of a place. It's, it's got its funkiness going on.
It almost looks like it was made for the movies. Indeed, it was the set for Oscar-winning 3 Billboards from Ebbing, Missouri.
I'd do anything to catch your daughter's killer.
A place farther from the state capital than you might expect.
We're closer to 5 state capitals than we are our own.
It feels a million miles from the divisive politics in our nation's capital.
So why don't you just keep your mouth shut?
Oh,
because you showed up.
Is that the way to talk?
You showed up.
But that mood, that division, it has crept into the old courthouse on top of the hill.
The library thing is, it's awful.
You can see the clash between people who have been here for generations and people that haven't. You can see the clash between trans rights and people who think that that's not a Christian way to live.
Today's loud politics around the nation, playing out in quiet, quaint places you would least expect.
If you want to attack a war memorial, to me, you are a piece of.
We have to keep having this debate until the statue comes down, and then we can make peace with it.
I first came to Sylva back in 2020 as a debate over the future of a Confederate statue ripped this community in two.
Take it down! Take it down!
We'll get to that statue battle here in a bit, but it's the building behind that statue where this most recent story starts. The old Jackson County Courthouse in Sylva, built in 1914 and converted into a library in 2011. In 2025, it's the site of the national political divide striking small-town America.
Now it's really a full-throated, deeply conservative area, and they're starting to want to exert their power a little bit more on some of the social issues that they have not appreciated or don't like to see in their town.
This summer, Jackson County commissioners voted to leave a regional library system that ran the libraries for 3 rural counties. It saves counties money and adds resources. But a book battle ignited a heated debate to leave the Fontana Regional Library system.
You've got somebody saying, hey, what if my kid grabs this terrible book off the shelf and learns something they shouldn't learn?
We've, I think, maxed out this building's capacity tonight.
Public hearings drew huge crowds to this tiny town.
It's an owner's manual for a human body, which every single person in this room has. It is not pornography.
In my opinion, if you approve this book, then you are a pervert.
People lined up, one after another, including pastors with different interpretations.
These books are not developmentally appropriate for young readers and contradict what many of us believe is our God-given responsibility to protect our children's innocence and well-being.
Speaking as a dad, as a leader in my church, and as a registered Republican in Jackson County, I have not seen anything in our library or surrounding libraries that would bring harm or corruption to my 5-year-old.
Beyond sex ed, LGBTQ books and a pride display also took center stage.
The book's in the library, and it gives young children step-by-step instructions on how to get on Grindr and go have sex with strange men that they don't know. Is that Christian? Because to me, that sounds like legal sex trafficking.
When you try to erase queer kids they end up killing themselves. That's the reality of the situation. And so when you're talking about this and being flippant about queer kids and people are making jokes, we have queer kids that are committing suicide 3 times the rate of other kids.
Now, these are local people talking about a local library. But the more you listen, the more you hear common phrases heard in national debates.
The library has no business promoting DEI and woke agendas.
It remained calm, but it was passionate and at times tense.
Your lack of empathy to your constituents is appalling.
Then there's Adam Bigelow.
I feel like y'all are already working on a mission, and we might as well be a bunch of crows out here just crowing to y'all.
Can we talk about the crowing?
So for the remainder of my time, I would like to crow to y'all as a crow. Caw! Caw! Caw!
They were holding this public input not to actually hear from the constituents of the county and the people that attended to speak, but just because they have to by law, and they had already made up their mind.
Thank you.
Jackson County has until next July to reconsider, or it will cost an estimated extra $500,000 a year to run the library on its own.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the story of this nationalization of politics in rural America. Plus, we'll meet up with a woman whose mission is to preserve Southern culture, but she has been thrust into the world of politics. Welcome back to Front Porch Politics. I'm Tim Boyum. We are talking this month about the nationalization of politics infiltrating local rural politics. Plus, in a minute, we're going to meet up with a woman whose focus is preserving Southern culture, but she has been thrust into the world of politics.
The library is just one issue, but you heard the undertones of national politics playing out. The phrases DEI, woke, and ideology heard during that public hearing.
If there was not the nationalization coming to Silva in Jackson County, do you think there would be a library debate going on right now?
Probably not, right? I mean, I think that it's very much part and parcel of the same thing, right? Or if we did have a library debate, I think it would have a very, very, very different tenor.
But it's not just a library issue. It's crept in other debates and email inboxes as well.
We have noticed a marked increase of people asking us to weigh in on national issues, asking me as a state senator. And, before, my standard answer to that would be, well, I'm a state senator. I represent the 8 western counties here in western North Carolina. I'm not a congressman. I don't go to Washington. But then the response I get back is, yeah, but you represent us and we need a voice.
One might argue national politics took hold in Silva in 2020 with a push from progressives and Democrats, not mega Republicans.
It's a id.
Ben Guinea literally won a seat on the town board in 2019 when a coin toss broke a tie.
So when I was on town board, we started the Pride Parade. It was during COVID. It was a lot of effort by a lot of great folks in the neighborhood, in the community.
The parade was a success, but not without dissent.
It was just a great time, and downtown business owners loved it. But then, we still have Pride. But last year, when the new town board folks took over, they decided not to have a parade.
This year, the local GOP chair paid for billboards to push against a private drag pageant held in the library after closing time. Despite the pushback, the LGBTQ community continues to speak up at Silva Pride each September.
Trans existence is one of a constant struggle to be seen as human, to be seen as worthy, and to be seen as beautiful.
Before that, in the summer of 2020, remember those massive George Floyd protests?
And we'll start throwing things.
Those arrived in Silva as well, in the form of dueling protests over a statue.
My father went to war. My grandfather went to war to fight the very ideology that is being sold under the guises of COVID 2020, racism.
In front of that library sits Silva Sam, a Confederate statue. That summer, a debate ensued like many places, whether or not to remove it. It's when I first met now former Town Commissioner Ben Guinea.
All we're doing, we're like, Town of Silva is going to request that the county move the statue. Not like tear it down or throw it in the river or whatever, just relocate it to something that's someplace that's more appropriate. It comes from a time, a time that was supporting, that was like kind of a celebration of white supremacy.
County commissioners later compromised, covering up the Confederate flag and inscription. But just this past spring, a new and more conservative commission quietly removed those plaques. If you haven't figured it out, Silva's a town with a progressive Democratic base. But as soon as you step across the town line, the county is heavily Republican. More than 36% of Silva voters are Democrats, but it's just 27% in the county.
Now this last election, it went not just Republican, but it's the MAGA Republican. The thing I hear them say, and it's really hard to say, is that they are only representing the folks that voted for them.
It used to be a truism that local politics in Jackson County did not really matter about Democrat versus Republican, conservative or liberal.
But recent issues like the library, Confederate statue, and LGBTQ community are mimicking national debates, leading to a more divided community. You can even see it in coffee shops.
And so if we keep walking in that direction, you can see the coffee shop. The coffee shop has been here, I believe, since the 1930s or 40s. Been here a long time. There's a very different clientele at that coffee shop than if we take a left here in a minute, we're going to go by White Moon. White Moon was a coffee shop originally started by a couple of people who were from here, moved to Brooklyn, New York, and came down to sort of bring that idea and that sensibility to Silva. Those clienteles are night and day.
You might call that a cultural example. Then there's the generational example, one we saw play out in the 2020 Confederate statue debate, a native versus outsider debate.
If you don't have generational ties here, if your ancestors don't come from here, you're right. You don't have a right to say anything about that monument.
He's referring to former town commissioner Ben Guiney, originally from Detroit.
Here in Western North Carolina, a lot of people tell me, if you don't have 7 generations of your family buried in the ground out here somewhere, you're not local.
State Senator and Republican Kevin Corbin understands that.
The property you see here is known locally as Corbin Cove. Our family settled here in 1836.
His grandchildren mark the 7th generation of Corbins in these parts. He sees and in some ways understands the resistance to outsiders pushing change.
I think Native people, and I speak as being one of them, are really a very accepting group of people. As long as you don't come here and say, well, this is the way we did it wherever we came from, because the natural local response is, well, we don't want to do it that way, or why don't you go back there, which is not a respectful response at all.
But that tension of native versus outsider, it's real in one of the nation's fastest growing states. Just ask Cassie Clark.
This is Louise here.
Jesse, maybe?
I asked Cassie to meet me at this cemetery in Sampson County. It's home to what was the nation's and maybe world's largest dogwood tree. Western North Carolina native is a content creator, and her moniker is named after that tree and the spring blooms that are the state flower. Her family is at least 8 generations deep in the state, and her daughter inspired her to preserve the pride she feels in those roots.
Well, my youngest came home one day, and she told me that one of her friends had told her that we have no culture, that white people, that, people in the South, we have no culture. And I was like, well, that's not true. And so I started thinking, how can I prove to my kid that we have culture?
A blog turned into a large social media following, her videos that highlight Southern culture and history.
Have you ever heard somebody toss around the word redneck? A lot of people seem to do it without having any idea what it means. So let's set the record straight.
She's not anti-growth, but she is leery of people moving here pushing change without respecting its roots. But for years, she purposely avoided politics.
I think that politics makes people mean. And I think that even me, I'm a hillbilly, and so I'm passionate. And I can see myself when people kind of attack what I believe, I get mean too.
But a viral post changed everything in late September. On a trip to Western North Carolina, she wore a Charlie Kirk shirt, the conservative activist who was murdered just weeks before on a college campus. She remembers some weird looks, but then a conversation at a restaurant turned into a confrontation.
He makes eye contact with me and he's like, "Is that a Charleston shirt?" And I was like, "No, sir, it's a Charlie Kirk shirt." And immediately he got angry.
Afterwards, she took a selfie with the shirt and posted it online. That selfie changed her life forever.
My husband texted me and he was like, please stop and get dinner, and I'm like, okay. So I go get dinner and I'm almost home, like just 5 minutes away, and my phone rings and I answer it and he's like, sweetheart, my friend just called and he said that he's pretty sure you've been retweeted by Elon Musk. And I was like, no way.
To this date, that post has more than 21 million views. While she avoided politics in the past, she says she can't avoid it now.
If there are all these things going on in my state that I don't agree with, it feels like I am the person who should be saying something about it.
In Jackson County, I reached out to the county commission chair and the county Republican Party leader. Neither responded. Some of the most outspoken conservatives at those library public hearings did respond, but in the end criticized some past interviews they've done as liberal and rude, and ultimately declined to participate in this story.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we head to the Hendersonville area with a man who is a Democrat on a mission to cause disruption. Welcome back to Front Porch Politics. This month we're talking about how the nationalization of politics is impacting even rural areas. We head to Hendersonville now and talk to a Democrat who has disrupted a congressional hearing and even burned a flag in the Capitol.
While much of the story is focused on conservatives in the mountains, by no means have rural progressives and Democrats sat on the sidelines.
As a 19-year-old, you're not built for that kind of thing.
Jay Carey lives in a small town outside of Asheville. His 20-plus years in the military define him to the core.
Watching my best friend die, picked up the pieces of my soldiers, literally picked up pieces of my soldiers from an IED strike.
In retirement, he's found a new enemy, Republicans in the Trump era. It boiled over when he went to a town hall hosted by Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards.
It wasn't to harass him or give him a hard time or call him out necessarily, but I knew that was coming because you know what he's going to say. He's a party, he does the MAGA party line.
His frustration mounted, then it boiled over.
I'm a veteran, you don't give a about me.
Carey was escorted out by police. Both Carey and Edwards appeared on my nightly show Capitol Tonight that same week.
The folks that attended are not representative of the district that I represent. I expected quite a bit of controversy, and that's exactly what I got.
These days of speaking nicely and rationally to these Republicans are over. They've been over for a long time. And sometimes a little foul language might get your message heard, and it did.
But disrupting the town hall was just the beginning. Carey was already in Washington protesting the National Guard patrolling the streets when he heard President Trump announce a new executive order.
What the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail.
Frustrated and furious, Carey took a flag and headed to a park across the street from the White House.
I am a 20-year combat veteran having served in the United States Army. It is our First Amendment right to burn this flag, regardless of what the president says.
How did that feel? Weird. Because while I support everybody's right to practice their free speech, it wasn't something that I ever thought I would do. I knew what needed to be done because that was something that was just so important to me, that you can't infringe on our First Amendment rights.
So where do we go from here? It's a question playing out across America. But it's more complicated in rural areas where everybody knows, well, everybody.
I wish we could have a political debate that wasn't just about tearing people down, and that has trickled down even into places like Silver.
When people say I'm only representing, the folks that voted for me, I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you even in government?
For some, a fear of failure, while others fear change.
A lot of locals are moving, and they're moving further south because they miss the lifestyle that we had. I hope that I can encourage people not to do that. If you love this state, if you love something the way that I love it, you're gonna fight for it.
It's great to have hope, but at the same time, you need to get ready. And you need to prepare yourself, however that looks, whether you arm yourself, you provide safe havens for people. Get ready, because dark times are ahead.
Dark times, yet there are glimmers of light. The aftermath of Hurricane Helene providing the proof.
When it comes down to what's really going on and what is really needed in emergency situations, we all help each other. And I really think that's something we need to emphasize.
Neighbor helping neighbor, a hallmark of small-town USA. But the politics of America putting that to the test as issues from far away heat up in their own backyards.
So we will see how it plays out in the years and decades ahead. Unfortunately, we got to leave this beautiful fall weather in the mountains to hit the road to find more incredible stories about incredible people here in the great state of North Carolina. We'll see you next time. If you want to keep up with what's happening in North Carolina politics and hear more conversations with people shaping our state and beyond, check out the Tying It Together YouTube channel in the description. Hit subscribe and let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, elections, and issues that matter to you.